I don't know why, but I always had dreams that my children would be musicians. I guess because I long to be able to play the piano. I have no voice to sing, but in any case, I saw that this piano was for sale. When we first moved here, I had this within a year of moving into this house in 1960. And I don't recall what I paid for it, but $400 is in my mind. It may not be right though. But Shannon did take piano lessons, and I think she still can play the same song that we used to hear pretty often. But anyway, I when I redid this room, I still couldn't let go of the piano. And you'll see above it are my children's high school graduation pictures. All 6 are up there. I stole that idea from Grandma Kellett, who had her 5 children all in one frame just like this. And I had to find somebody who would make a frame that large. So because it's such a treasure to me, I had a photographer come in last Christmas, as you know, and make you a smaller version of it proportionately so that you could all have one. I know you each have a copy. I figured you'd all fight over this picture, so rather than have a fight among my children, why I did make copies for you. I did the same. Well, I'll go over that shortly. So that explains this wall. And then you can just, this is an old dining room set. This is actually Jennifer's grandmother's old dining room set. I always like to use things and not get rid of them because they're solid wood, which is a little harder to get today. But on the wall are things from Cambodia, Australia, from travels. The only thing I want to really note is this hat up here, because if I ask you what do you think it's made of, what do you think it's made of, Christian? This hat up here.
Bamboo.
No, this hat? Yeah, no, it's a mushroom. It's from, and it is from, it's from Hungary, okay? But they grow these huge mushrooms and they make hats out of them, okay? All right, this is from Africa. It's a piece of animal skin with the reproductions as if they were from Lascaux Cave in Florida, okay? All right, now, that's a blowgun over there. This is because it says ho 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 dude, and I don't know if I can get an even enough floor to have him perform, but I saw him one in I forget where, at MDP's Christmas Bazaar, and the man told me where to get them, and I tried, and they didn't have any. So I searched and searched online for this Southern Santa Claus because my Nardo boys moved to Florida, and I missed them around Christmas time. So let's see if we can get it to work. But I walked into Home Depot one day, and there he was. So I bought a whole lot of them. So that's for all my Southern people who celebrate Christmas in shorts. Okay. There we go. Okay. Okay, so he's the product of lots of searching. And thank goodness to Home Depot. I was so happy that I bought one different one, similar idea of Southern Santa Clauses. Okay? All right, now, you'll recall growing up that there was a closet here because used to hide in it. And I remember Danny's last surprise birthday party, all his friends were in there. And someone took him out for a while and took so long, they almost suffocated in the closet. But when he walked in, they jumped out and they just jumped on him. I think it was his 12th birthday. It was crazy. But anyway, we took out that closet to give more room, and but that's a memory for you. And you'll remember that the fireplace used to be red brick, and then we whitewashed it so that it gave the room a larger feeling. Because this was paneled. This whole room was paneled. And we put this paint on it that I think it's called Medusa. It has sand in it, and it gives that, I don't think you can even buy it anymore. I got it at Sears. But it gave that room more of a finished feeling than the old dated paneling of the 1960s and 70s. Okay, and I still have your stockings, but I didn't put them up. Instead, I have my puppy stockings up. And then we're getting ready for Christmas, so there are a few little things here. But we haven't lit that fireplace in a while, okay? But, and this is Danny's corner over here. You can see the flag that was on his coffin. and you can see a statue that his brother Lee gave me at one of the golf outings. And the football I can't reach because the tree is in the way, but there's a football that says Steve Bono on him, and I bid on that at a charity event. But Steve Bono was quarterback of Norristown football team in 1980, and Danny was playing for Upper Merion as a linebacker, and he was co-captain. So the game was over. It was Thanksgiving, and the game was 40 seconds to go. And I marched down the steps, the stand, to go get ready to congratulate Danny on a fabulous game, because it meant that they were going to get the district trophy and all kinds of things involved. And so as I walked down the stairs, I started 40 seconds ago. Steve Bono raised his hand behind, and he throws a Hail Mary, and I watched that ball go, and I watched it, and I watched it, and I watched it get caught in the end zone, and the went off. The game was over. I ran down the steps to Danny, who went, "Mom!" And he threw his helmet down on the ground, and he grabbed me. We both were hugging, laying on the ground crying, and that ruined our Thanksgiving. He wasn't even there for Thanksgiving, because the coach's son came over and got him, and they went out for the day. It was horrible Thanksgiving. But anyway, it's amazing what time does. They lost the game. I lost Danny. We all lost Danny. But we still live and we still go on. So, okay? And the game, they had a Norristown game last year, but no more. There won't be any more, because there's just not enough. They're limited to how many games they can have, so it can't be fit in. Okay? So here on the Christmas tree, there are ornaments you'll all remember, because some of these go back to 1953. And I'm not going to point them all out, but this snowman you'll recognize from having gone to Quebec for the Carnival, and he's a special one that greets people, and it's some important person in Quebec who becomes that each year, and he dresses in the big snowman suit and has a sash. I have a sash upstairs, and you can see that symbolic sash. And so when you see that sash up in my office, you'll know that that's from the Bonhomme de Neige, the Carnival. And I don't know if you can see them, but up at the very top, we would all meet, go to the movies on December 24th to treat Kyle for his birthday. Poor kid, birthday's the day before Christmas. So I always try to make it special by going to the movies. And I would bring all the snacks and get everybody a soda, and we'd take up a whole roll and pass down the Tootsie Pops or whatever it was I had for you. And you're all so good, and Sean and Amber would have their hair, and I'm not sure Tricia was old enough to go with us, but if she did, everybody had rollers in their hair, getting ready for the concert that Patty was going to have on Christmas Eve. And so that was an exciting day. Christmas Eve was always my favorite day. So one time we had a little bit too much time to go from the movie to Patty's for the buffet, because she was busy getting ready. So we went to the shopping center up there on Route 100. And I saw this is when I was fighting with Danny about riding a motorcycle. And I found this policeman on a motorcycle. And I kept it for years, but something happened to the motorcycle, and I still had my Danny. So every year, the last ornament I put on is up at the tippy top of the tree, and it's Danny, and it's the police uniform. So remember that up there, and be careful of that little statue, because we lost him in 1990. So that ornament, it's not even a tree ornament, I made it one, is now 28 years old. Okay? And there are, like this ice cream cone is ancient. It's this lollipop, this big engagement ring. Of course, we have our little memory of Keith, and just a lot of neat ornaments that I treasure. So Erin gave me this little girl and boy, and she gave me that. I got that Irish one down at Cape May. So there's some really very precious ornaments. Okay, and I might be almost 88, but I still enjoy putting up the tree. I've had this nativity scene since Patty worked at Wanamaker's. She had a part-time job at Wanamaker's, I guess, during the holiday season. And I can't leave the sheep or the baby Jesus in there because Bo, our dog, keeps tearing them out, keeps pulling them around the house like it's something to play with. So until everyone comes on Christmas, baby Jesus is up here where she can't reach them. And I will try again to put one of the sheep back again, see if she stays put. I usually have a light in it, but this year I didn't bother putting a light in it. But I think Jennifer really would like to have this manger scene. So there's 3 wise men and the shepherd, Mary, Joseph, sheep, oxen, and the baby. And that's it. So, and then to the rear of that is a wall with 3 shells. And on those shells are pictures of those that we love that we've lost, okay? And there, on the first picture is my grandfather, who is John Goodhart, my mom's dad, whom she dearly loved. She didn't have a mom from the age of 2 on, that we don't know why, but her mom I don't know if it was childbirth or pneumonia or what. And then is my mother being held by her godmother, and then my grandmother, my father's mother, Alice Hickey. And it's hard to see because there's no light back there right now. Oh, that's my mom when she's a baby. Then you drop down a shelf, and those are 3 pictures of Danny at different stages of his life. And then my Aunt Marion, whom I loved, who had one child named, her name was Marion Boland, but it's my father's sister. I think she's the 3rd sister. Second sister. It was Catherine and Marion, and then my godmother Alice, and then the youngest. Okay. And then these are pictures of my mom and deceased in the family. Then Danny's, and then my mom and dad. So as if that's sort of my little shrine of those whom we love and lost. Okay. So that's pretty much the family room. As far as from your childhood, the only thing missing is the closet and the fact that the walls are white and the floor is pergo. It's no longer that old black and white asphalt. So, and the decor, the furniture's different. We've been through several sets of furniture, but when you were little, it was black tweed and a red tweed chair, and I had that table in this corner, and I had a chandelier that was cards, like something you put over a poker table, but it was definitely cards motif, and it was that like stained glass look. Okay, so that's our family room. Of course, it's because I took you guys down to South Africa, as you'll recall, and in fact, there's pictures of you here on the wall doing that safari, and it is that we saw so much of these animals, and of course these birds that were around all the time. But this I want to call to your attention. I put this while you were all down diving, getting white sharks after you. I went into the antique store in Cape Town, and this is a handmade rattle that was used for funerals to scare away the evil spirit. So remember, this was $100 back then in Africa, so don't throw it out. It's not a piece of junk, it's a real authentic funeral rattle, okay? And also, I'd like to call your attention to this stick I have hooked up into the wall, which easily could be taken down. And this is a dancing stick again for the tribes there. This piece of batik that I have framed is man and woman with life. And this man came to my door where I lived in St. Louis, and he was really desperate for money. And he handmade this, and his name is down here. And I paid him $5 for that, and then brought it home and had it framed. Lee gave me this from his trip to Africa. I bought this light cover in Cape Town, believe it or not. And then there's a picture of Carl and me at the Cape of Good Hope. I carried the theme through by getting the copper bowl, getting this bathroom redone, and carried through with the theme of Africa. Okay. We're in the utility room that you all recognize. Other than the walls being painted and the windows being different than when we got the house, it's the door you came in when you came home from school every day. And this is the shelf where you put your gloves and hats. Here's the hooks where you hung your coats. And on the floor there used to be a piece of wood with sections for you to put your boots. And it was so that you wouldn't track through the house with your muddy boots, and you were pretty good about it. So that's your old utility room. Well, I know you've all seen this map, which I really treasure because it marks off the places that we've traveled. And down here, I want to mark off this. This is Ushuaia in Argentina. It's the most southern city in the world. And that's where you embark when you go down to the Antarctic. And you know, the Antarctic it has soil under it, so it's considered a continent. So if you want to say you've been on all 7 continents in the world, you have to have been to Antarctica. And there's a treaty by I think at least 7 different countries to protect that area. It doesn't belong to anybody. When I came back, someone said, what language do they speak? Well, I could say they speak Penguin. There's no language because there's no inhabitants. It's not habitable, except for the fact that the English and Polish, maybe a few other countries, have a weather station to study the climate, but that's it. It doesn't belong to anybody, okay? And so this is also the Antarctic because we visited parts of the mainland of Antarctica. And then over here, we went to New Zealand, which I thought was pretty far south too, as well as Australia. And we were there for Patty's, I think let's see, she's 59. That would have been about her 50th birthday. I'm not sure, I think even younger than that. But we had her birthday there. We had a lot of fun because the time zone was different, so we'd celebrate it a couple of times and saying, it's your birthday in this country, it's your birthday in that country. Okay? And this is where I lived in Africa. The most western point of Africa is Dakar, the capital, and I lived up closer to Mauritania. I lived right on the ocean too, and it was the original St. Louis. Saint Louis was the original capital when all that area of Africa belonged to France. But once in the 60s, when it split up in different countries, they moved the capital from Saint Louis, down to Dakar. So that's where the embassy is, and that's where I had to go to cash my checks. And it was quite a trek from Saint Louis because I didn't have a car, and the train was really horrible, but that's what I would have to take unless French person was kind enough to give me a ride. Okay, so that is, we've been to Alaska, so that would be the most northern part, as well as into Norway, and I've been to Russia and so forth. So these are my travels, and Carl's, a lot of them are Carl's travels too. Okay, you should remember this bathroom because the tile is the same as it was when we bought the house in 1960. The wallpaper here has changed because it was just painted before, but the floor is the same, and the fixtures are the same except for the vanity, because back then it was just trestle sinks, but with the vanities when they came in, I substituted that. But it's the same toilet, floor, tile. The window's different, that was changed, but just updated it, okay? And try to make it Victorian, just to give it some kind of personality. You also should recognize this bathroom from the sense of the tile, because I try to pick neutral colors so that we wouldn't get tired of them. And because back then, turquoise, pink, all kinds of colors were for bathrooms. And no one ever would get a white bathroom. No one would get a white toilet. It was just not in. So anyway, this is the same shower, the same tile, same floor tile. This has been replaced. And the toilet used to be blue, and it broke, and we had to get that replaced. So that's about it and of course the windows, all the windows in the house have been replaced. The very top level, other than the attic, which is another level, was studs, that's all. And then the neighborhood got together and walled it up and made a little tiny bathroom and an office for your father. Well, then we changed that and we gutted it and divided it up in the 80s. And so I'm at the wall. I am at the wall, which is over the garage, okay? And I just want to point out that this is my mom's picture when she was 16 years old, and she had a nickname, Hon, H-O-N, and that's a picture of her at the beach. And so there she is in her woolen bathing suit. I actually have a woolen bathing suit downstairs. The moths have gotten into it though. But this is a huge bedroom. And the three boys were up here until I found out. I saw all the BB shots in the wall, and I realized that Danny's life was threatened for, maybe it would have been better I left him here. He might have learned to defend himself. But he was barely being persecuted by his two older brothers. And so I took Danny out of here. We had three cupboards. Each one had a cupboard, and we had beds for each one, but then decided that we had to move them downstairs. And Patty was just thrilled to be sharing a room with her brother. Sorry about it, Patty, but that's what happened. And so we had the bigger bedroom, and then the two, and then Aaron had a small bedroom. I guess we had two girls. Yeah, we had the two girls in the middle room. We had the larger room, and the smaller room was Patty and Danny. And then as people left, things changed, and this became the parent bedroom. And now we have, the bedrooms are offices, and then we have a guest bedroom. So this house has served us well. We also put the air conditioning in, central air, which is up in the attic. The attic has a floor, but that is where the central air conditioning was put, the machinery for that, the piping for that. But you still can go up there and store things. And so we have ground level, which is the laundry room and the family room and the powder room. And then we come upstairs, and we have the kitchen, living room, dining room, and our all-purpose room. It's breakfast room, whatever, but it's the room that gets the most use. Then we go upstairs to 3 bedrooms and 2 full bathrooms, and then up to an attic for storage. So it's a huge house. It serves us well, and 6 children grew up here and went through school while they lived here, and it's still my home. It's still very hard to have anyone else in it, but if the reality is there, that's what will be. But remember, this is my home, 532 General Learned Road. It never got a French name, but it was our home.